Leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll. Hit and miss. Now you counting stars. Should've practiced more. Should've hit the mask. Get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much. World come. Back sports. Talking way too much. World come. Back sports. Talking way too much. World come. Back sports.
Yo, big shout out to the others chatting MF and gang. Came in for a late one, of course. Why? Because I'm absolutely on the rampage. Shout out to the first in the building. Carlos Rosado is on deck. What's good with it, bro? Jessica is in the building. The queen is arrived on deck. I see you. Salute to everybody that's pulling up. So, there seems to be some people that feeling some type of way because I'm back on my High Grease Chronicles 289. They say it's much more to talk about in boxing than just Bud. I say, you're right. You're right, it is. But I'm just asking you to mind your fucking business. That's all I'm asking. I'm not telling you what topics to talk about. I must be saying something that's pinching your nerves, that you got to get on here and act like you want to change up the script. I'm trying to be creative. You know what I'm saying? Create a positive mental picture about the bullshit that's going on in boxing. As the title says, disgraced. Crawford checks all the boxes except selling out. Canelo, Jermell, Tszyu, Ennis, all ducks. You know what I'm saying? Marvelous ducks. But the root of the problem isn't the ones that's ducking. It's why they ducking. How can a person be so unimportant but yet have so much leverage indirectly? You know what I'm saying? Crawford has achieved what he's achieved, but yet, I can't understand why. You have these individuals now back talking about PBC that's obviously struggling. They fragile as hell right now, and they trying to find anything and everything. So I'm looking at it with a little bit of confusion to say, well, Canelo seems to get what he wants from them. So how dare I look at the Crawford situation like it's freaking impossible? You got people up here saying the same garbage. I'm talking about floaters, y'all. They playing in the water with floaters. They saying the same thing again. Crawford, he don't want to sign with the PBC. In order for him to have the big fights at 154, he got to go through them. Are we still talking about that? Now, let's take a little walk. It's about to be Thursday, so let's take a little walk right quick. All right, let's take a little walk. I'm about to share screen right quick because this don't make any sense. This don't make any sense. How people be out here lying and trying to rebound. They act like they out of rehab now. That Crawford's name is about to step back in the ring. He's getting shine, and they don't want to hear that. So they creating false narratives talking about he needs to sign with PBC again in order for him to get the big fights, in order for this. If you think, reading these articles, when they say that Tszyu will make a higher payday fighting Errol Spence than Terrence Crawford, you're going to pay me for my consult. That's all I can say. I'm about to share screen right quick. Because it's essential. It's imperative that we take a little gander. because these cats seem to be lost. And the fact that they lost and they ain't trying to be found either. They want to continue to talk about the same shit. Now check this out, y'all. We're looking at the super welterweight, junior middleweight, however you want to phrase it, bro. Jermell Charlo, Brian Mendoza. All right. Jermell Charlo's in recess with the WBC. He vacated the IBF. Okay? Then he was stripped of the WBA. And then we know the WBO was stripped from Jermell Charlo when he stepped in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. So right here, we have the IBF and we have the WBA. Also, Crawford activated his WBO. So the road, the pathway is there. You know what I'm saying? The pathway is there. The belts are accessible. Jermell Charlo being in recess, who freaking cares? Who freaking cares if he's with the PBC? Who cares? You have people out here that's putting out false information and trying to build up any type of credibility PBC may have just based off the strength of Crawford's name alone. They willing to give Canelo the whole entire bank. But yet when it comes to Crawford, they want him to sign. I mean, how many fights have Canelo signed consistently with PBC? Has it been 2? 3? How many? And look, let's just say Canelo signed a 2 fight. Wasn't Crawford locked in for a rematch? Old news, right? Old news, right? I mean, why saturate the airways with old information? This is old information. Like, let's not go back to 21, 22. Let's not go back to before all of this took a change for the worse in 23. Let's not do that, people. Let's not cloud the game anymore with this nonsense, acting like Crawford in one sense, you know, he's not a ticket seller, but in the other sense, the PBC don't want to, you know, do business with him because they want him to sign. He signed. What did you want him to do? Errol Spence ended up having surgery. EJ ducked the man in the rematch, man. Point blank period, just like that. Jermell Charlo wanted no parts. Canelo want to make excuses to my he don't bring nothing to the table. Jerron Ennis left the WBO to jump over to the IBF. They was jump roping for real, huh? Stay on track, right? You know what I'm saying? Because we want them to embrace this reality. If Terrence Crawford is not a freaking ticket seller, why the same topic continue to come up with these content creators that's trying to now boost up the PBC and up here saying that they don't want to do business with Crawford unless he signed a multi-fight deal with them? I mean, you got what you wanted. That just goes to show you about boxing. It don't matter what you do. Like, finally, Crawford came over from Top Rank, no promotion, and was able to link up with Errol Spence and make the fight work with Showtime. You know what I'm saying? And there was a rematch clause in there to the loser. The loser happened to be Errol Spence Jr., and he couldn't even follow through with that. But these cowards out here busy passing off propaganda and trying to make you believe that it's legitimate information. How can Crawford be a minimal ticket seller? Not selling out anything, they say, right? But yet, every time he challenges, he has the medals, the credentials, the accolades, the cachet of achievements. He has all that. But they're acting like in order for him to get fights at 154, he has to go to the PBC all because of Tszyu. And you got punk ass Tszyu up here, you know, his manager up there thinking they may vacate the WBO belt. See, I really didn't even speak on this earlier because I do my shit in layers. I saw the entire TBV interview, and I was just shaking my head. I said, because he's an Aussie fighter. Obviously, he really don't have his dad pedigree in him. He ain't trying to be great. He ain't trying to hold down the legs. That's usually how it work. Look at Chavez Jr. That's usually how it work. You know, your dad put on all the work. He basically paved the way for you, and then you come in here talking about you might fight Errol Spence. How are you going to be able to earn a lucrative payday with the guy who was terminated? You know what I'm saying? A guy who was terminated by Terrence Crawford. How is Tszyu gonna have a non-title fight unless they trying to say, okay, Tszyu, vacate the WBO and you can fight for a vacant WBA or IBF or whatever the case? How are they gonna do that? What benefit is it for them to vacate the WBO title and fight Errol Spence? Is he satisfied just because your manager say you may potentially be a champion at 160 and 168? Is that enough for you? It don't make any sense. Why the fighters that's trying to be great like Crawford, only a select group of people want to acknowledge him, you know, putting a challenge out there and daring to be great. But yet you got cats like Canelo that's trying to pretend like he the greatest to ever do it. And he's at a point right now where he's supposed to be excelling over the top, sitting on the throne, you know, with all the money that he's making. You know what I'm saying? All the money that he's making. He's supposed to be picking the best, fight the best. He's supposed to be selecting the top competition. And he's over there, nah, they don't bring nothing to the table. They don't bring no money. But he's fighting guys that don't bring money to the table. That's the hypocrisy and the contradiction in it all. He's fighting guys that don't bring any top dollar to the table. But yet, the fighters that will, that prevents more of a challenge, Canelo wants to turn them down. Boots want to submit paperwork and have him stripped of the title. Jermell Charlo want to make excuses and not trying to, he wasn't trying to hold on to them belts. If he really wanted to fight Crawford and say, hey, I just came off Canelo, just like he was bragging about the James Harden when he was ringside for the Crawford Spence fight, he could have came back off that Canelo fight and say, I want to fight Crawford. That's what he said at the end of the fight, right? Didn't he say that to us? He said, I want to fight Terrence Crawford. Didn't he say that? He told us that, right? He said, I want to fight Terrence Crawford. And then all of a sudden he comes off the belts. He comes off the belts. So let's look at it this way, okay, with a long lens. Let's look at this through a long lens, right? Crawford gets the WBO title, and he wants to unify for the WBC. What y'all gonna be talking about again? Oh, well, he got to sign a multi-fight deal. It has to be a rematch and all this other crap, just for him to fight Jermell Charlo, who's in recess. Because look, you know how it's gonna be, right? You know how it's gonna be. If Crawford's able to pick up these two titles, and then they bring Jermell Charlo back, they're gonna try to come up, with something that he has to sign a multi-fight deal. When my point, and when I was trying to direct traffic with, was he get the unified titles, right? And it's better for him to try to unify with the WBA or IBF. But being that Jermell Charlo is in recess of the WBC and Crawford picks up both of those belts, that's only if Tszyu, choose to vacate the WBO title. Then Crawford will only be, depending on what they do. I doubt they put somebody else in there. It's plenty of people at 154, to be honest. But somebody that we want to see Crawford fight at 154, it's plenty of names. But I'm looking at the WBO sanctioning body. Who's up there that's really gonna give the fight fans what they want to see? Xander Zayas is not ready for Crawford. Erickson Lubin would be a name. Okay, Erickson Lubin definitely be a name. It's only a matter of time before Virgil Ortiz be in the mix, but Virgil Ortiz has turned down Crawford multiple times at 147, so I'm not sure if he's ready. He came back from a long layoff, and the fight only landed, lasted 2 blinks and a sneeze and a cough, and then it was over. Supposedly his opponent had a full-blown aneurysm, you know what I'm saying, and he wasn't supposed to anyway. This shit don't make any sense, man. This is boxing, though, right, people? This is boxing. At the end of the day, this is boxing. There's nothing mythological about it. It just consists of a whole lot of ominous type business practices. You bring up fights being fixed and stuff like that. The system of boxing it's shrouded in controversy, man. It don't benefit the sport at all. That's why I always say it's a system. The system is messed up because it's some of everybody that's a part of the system. It's really no one person that's running the system to have organization. Everybody in the system, they have their own SOP. They do it their way. That's why fighters like Crawford, he goes out here checking all the boxes to be great in the sport. And then you have people trying to prevent him from getting paid. I mean, what do you want? It make you just want to stop watching a sport because there isn't any control. It isn't any organization. And then somebody will listen to my live like, well, you don't want to support the sport. They sound stupid because they couldn't tell you who's in charge. They couldn't tell you. They just up here just talking about it. Just talking about one specific promotion who doesn't have control over the entire sport of boxing. Why would Tszyu want to come this far, get all this exposure, and get a fight with Spence, man? And look, you gonna fight Spence for a title? Real talk. You know how they like throwing people into the rankings, right? You gonna fight Spence for a title? They're gonna have you vacate the WBO and then throw you into another sanctioning body, just to get a belt back over, to the PBC for Spence. What they gonna help you out? They're gonna help you out with the IBF. They're gonna have you fight Spence for the IBF title. There, Tszyu. You better not go over there and sell out. You know what I'm saying? You vacate that belt, it's over for you, man. You can't recover from that. Look, if Crawford is on the hunt and he's at 154 right now, and he's supposed to be the small dude, and Tszyu, and you come off that belt to fight a guy who was damn near terminated by the same guy you ducked. Man, I'm looking at this fight right now with the mindset that I hear that your manager got, and you head into this Fundora fight. I kind of want Fundora the freaking win now. But when they get a hold of these fighters, it don't matter if Tszyu win or Fundora. Real talk. Real talk. Fundora might win and come up the same thing. But they definitely don't want Fundora fighting Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? Fundora win, that whole Errol Spence situation goes out. You know what I'm saying? Fundora wins those unified titles, the whole Errol Spence and stuff goes out the window. I don't see them putting Errol Spence in there with Fundora. But Tszyu win the titles? Yeah, I can see him vacate. vacant IBF, that puts Spence in a real good situation with Tszyu, because Tszyu is a better fighter stylistically to unify the 154-pound, and it provides Spence with opportunity to get back on the map with 2 titles. Just a title in general, but for 2 titles, man. I don't know if they can do that, but they're doing it with Fundora and Tszyu. So why couldn't they do it with Tszyu and Spence? But see, in this whole mix-up is all about control. So if they get rid of one, keep one, and then go after another and make it a 2-for-1 special unification, and then somehow they give Tszyu the orders, pay him good money. They give Tszyu the orders. He go in there and lose. You know what I'm saying? And that puts Spence at the top, and Tszyu end up going up the middleweight, and ain't nobody gonna be talking about his name at all, bro. Nobody's gonna be talking about his name at all. Why? Because he vacated the WBO title. You can't vacate the WBO title and then fight Spence and lose, and then disappear to 160 and tell me I'm ready to take over the division because I just had some other stuff going on. No, I think, you know, truth be told, he's going to be happy with winning these titles. If Tszyu wins, he's going to be happy with being the unified champion, and then he's going to move on to 160. You know what I'm saying? Look, put it this way. Look at all the people who become undisputed and don't defend the titles. So if Tszyu want to vacate the WBO and fight Spence, let's just say either it's for one of the other titles, you know, just like they just did for a vacant and the title, the WBC that Tszyu has, or just strictly for the WBC. I'm just putting it out there. They would rather attempt to have Spence with a little bit more control if that's where they're trying to go. Because I think Tszyu is content with unifying the division in one fight, for, you know, fighting for 2 titles, move to 160 after you take the orders, and then allow Spence, you know, to reclaim himself with prominence, with belts. Then comes in Crawford. What is Crawford coming? We're going to go through this all over again? It's not going to work. I promise you, it's not going to work. People are not going to buy it. It's just going to be the PBC struggling to climb that motherfucking pole once again, and it's slippery as hell. You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to keep this man out, knowing that people understand what they seen last year. They understand how dangerous Crawford is as a fighter. And just because Spence has belt and the PBC want to play that game again, it's not going to work. It's not going to work this time like it did the first time. You know, people was actually buying into, you know, Spence, you know, being a serious challenge for Crawford, and Crawford made it easy. But him moving up to 54 and picking up these belts, it does make him a 2-division champion. It does, you know, etch him a little bit closer for validation if he's to become a future Hall of Famer. But another person that's already in the Hall of Fame, as we speak, all he has to do to retire, wait for his eligibility, is Bud Crawford. And however these sanctioning bodies or however these promotions is planning this shit, Crawford should be able to fight a worthy opponent in Tszyu, right? They should be able to fight a worthy opponent who's going in here to fight for the unification, then should own up and face Terrence Crawford and represent his father's legacy the way it's supposed to. Not, oh, it's business. At the end of the day, it's business. I beat Fundora. I unified the division. I'm not worried about anything else. I can make the decisions. So, you know, Crawford is not a champion up here at 154. I'm going on, and I'm taking the orders to fight Spence. You know what I'm saying? All about control. I'm going to the fight Spence, somebody who's already had the WBC title at 147 pounds. But I don't think the WBC is enough. I think they want Spence to have some control so they can say no, no, no. Believe it or not, Hey, Spence, he understand he got an ass whooping. But I think at this point in time, you would think he'll want that get back. I'm hoping he want that get back at 154. But the way they ducking Crawford, it's disgraceful, bro. Real talk, it's just disgraceful the way they're trying to maneuver around one small guy, as they call him. If he's so small and y'all keep on calling that man a 135 pounder, why don't you then pick up your tone a little bit? Volume up. Stop whining like some hoes. And start talking this boxing talk. Like, what's wrong with y'all, man? You got 2 vacant titles. You got you have individuals that's on the pound for pound list. And then y'all up here trying to map out a plan on how Spence can return to prominence. How he can return to the hierarchy by cutting corners and getting ahead of Crawford. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that Spence is no way, shape, or form should be included in what Tszyu's action is. But let's just say Tszyu goes in there and takes his first loss, rather. But gets off one of them belts. Take the order, loses to Spence, that's how I see it playing out if he gives up the WBO title. There's no way that they're going to give Spence the opportunity to fight Tszyu, and he comes out the loser. They don't want Spence taking a back-to-back loss. You know what I'm saying? One to Crawford and one to Tszyu. So Spence goes in there and either, fight for the WBC or they throw in a vacant title. Either way, it allows Spence to be, to have the joystick for a little bit. And then, they can run interference with Crawford picking up multiple titles at the division. But where there's a will, there's a way, people. That's all I'm saying. Where there's a will, there's a way with this. This is disgraceful. I try my best not to get on here and talk about the same thing. But I never want people to just get complacent with what you listening to. I never want you to get acclimated with what you're seeing in this era. We're already struggling for huge fights right now. The fight that's on the horizon right now, just think about it. The main event switched out for Keith Thurman to Fundora. Fundora was about to face somebody else for the vacant WBC after he was knocked out. So they come full circle. Look, they come full circle. Last minute replacement for 2 titles. And I've been talking about the anticipation with Crawford being lined up. And they're talking, and his manager get on TBV and drop the info. Oh, we might just vacate the WBO so we can get a fight with Crawford. Why do you want to, Spence. Why do you want to fight Spence, though? You want to truly defend your title, or you feel that this is the only opportunity for you to make money? Because I see an article on Boxing News 24. Guess what these fools said. Let me go back up. It's a WBO junior middleweight champion Tszyu's manager, Glenn Jennings, reportedly will consider Tszyu vacating his title if they can get a fight against Errol Spence next if they're victorious against Sebastian Fundora this Saturday night. March 30th, Las Vegas. It's a bigger payday for Tszyu to fight Spence next than Terrence Crawford. Okay? So they saying it's a bigger payday. A bigger payday as in, in-house. A bigger payday in selling your title, taking your first loss. This is what boxing has come to. You thinking there's a forecast out there. You have cats marking their calendars on where they want to go, what they're trying to accomplish. And really, at this point in time, it is about the money. That's where Tank Davis, comes off as a genius in how he's moving. Because he don't care nothing about unifying. He don't care nothing about no freaking titles. None of that. He's about to fight Frank Martin for no titles except the one he got. He's going to defend his title. He's not in a hurry to go out here and collect belts at all, y'all. He's in no hurry. This article goes on to say Tszyu must beat Fundora, vacate his WBO 154 title, and negotiate the fight with Spence management. That would be so much money Tszyu could get from fighting Spence and then Crawford rather than the other way around. This news won't make Crawford happy because he's counting on fighting the winner of Tszyu Fundora. But that may not happen now that Jennings has come up with the gem of an idea. They call this a gem of an idea, y'all. They go on to say why Team Tszyu prefers Errol Spence. Now, they're trying to find a one-wheel, you know what I'm saying? Look, they're trying to find a one-wheel vehicle and convince you it rides just as smooth as if it had, four wheels on it. Brand new tires. They got you riding in a single. Look, they got you riding in a vehicle with one donut on there. You see sparks and everything flying. This is what they say about this shit. They say, why Team Tszyu prefers Errol Spence? Bigger payday. Spence is bigger star in the U.S. than Crawford, which means more pay-per-view buys, more dough for Tszyu. Can you imagine that? They say bigger payday. Spence is a bigger star in the U.S. than Crawford, which means more pay-per-view buys, more dough for Tszyu. Next, fan appeal. Errol is more charismatic. Look at this now. Fan appeal. Errol is more charismatic with a bigger fan base than Crawford, who is reserved. Now, do y'all believe that Errol Spence is less reserved than Crawford? I mean, you're talking about a guy who barely did any media. Garbage of an article. It goes on to say, potential legacy fight. A fight between Tszyu and Spence will be a legacy-defining fight. This is what they putting out, man, in this article. It says more excitement. Spence is an aggressive, come-forward type of fighter that likes to mix it up. In contrast, Crawford is a counterpuncher who moves a lot and changes stances without needing to. Didn't I just mention that today? How they keep talking about Crawford switching stances and he don't need to, but yet he fought Spence with the southpaw stance. Man, come on, bro. These niggas haters, bro. They say it's just the gimmick stuff that ultra hardcore boxing fans like to watch, but those who enjoy seeing pure action are bored by it. Now this, look, drum roll. This is by James DISGRACED. This who wrote this bullshit ass article. James DISGRACED. He must be a new hire writing this crap. He said the idea would be for Tszyu 27-0-17 knockouts to take the big money fight against former unified welterweight champion Spence 28-1-22 knockouts and then return to reclaim his WBO belt. No, that's not what they want to do. Don't try to dress that shit up. Tszyu comes off that WBO belt. He ain't coming back to return it. He's going to 160. His manager said they're looking forward to picking up titles at 160, 168. He's not coming to reclaim no freaking belt. Your credibility is done. It's tarnished. You come off that belt, you don't take a L on your box rec. You fight Spence and lose, you take a L, and you take that extra L by vacating that WBO belt and not having the toughest fight of your career. Anybody can, with any type of sense, to put words together and understands, what boxing truly is for what it's worth. They can derive an article and put it out. You know what I'm saying? They can come up with content and put it out. This guy, obviously, he must have been a previous boxer. His record is probably 2 and 340,000. You know what I'm saying? with 320,000 of that being knockouts. You know what I'm saying? Him being knocked out. Because for him to get up here and forget about something that's not even a year anniversary yet. It hasn't even been a year anniversary. And they out here trying to boost up Spence again. I get it. You know, the network ain't popping yet. And the network ain't popping yet. So they want to go back the way it used to be. They want to go back to that hate, that pure, unfiltered hate. And try to say that Crawford ain't a freaking, he don't sell, and Spence is still a bigger star. You think Spence is still a bigger star than Crawford after that whooping that he put on? You really think that, brother? Y'all content creators that's trying to big up the PBC again, you really think after the world witnessed that type of brutality, you think? Let me get to the chat. I can't neglect the chat, man. Shout out to the hottest chat in MF and game. Stand strong out there, chat. Stand strong. Because you know what? I have majority of boxing supporters in the chat. Even though I cover MMA too. I have majority of individuals who tune in for boxing content. I don't want you to get discouraged about this. I just want you to understand what exists in the past and the present and what will still continue to exist in the future. I don't want you to get discouraged about tuning in. I'm absolutely trying to keep you informed that how can you accept these big names like Canelo, Jermell, Tszyu, Ennis, supposedly all ducking one fighter. Spence want to have cataract surgery late. He ducked Crawford too. And then to speak about, and then, you know, to have people out here putting out articles and false information and saying that Spence has a bigger fan base and he's a bigger draw. And you're talking about personalities? You want to talk about Spence personality? Seriously, you trying to say that Spence has more of a bright, spontaneous personality than Crawford? Now, of course, you know, Crawford is on record as not wanting to attend media obligations. We get it, but Spence is no better. Spence really wasn't trying to entertain nothing. Not even fighting Crawford for the rematch. And Crawford wants to move on and submit paperwork the right way. And then, look, the plan was in from the jump. We should have known when they brought the WBC title on deck. We should have known there are some pieces on the board that was moved. You know what I'm saying? Them cats is up there trying to make money. They playing chess. You should have known when they included a title fight for unification and the WBC was going to be vacant. It was some other bullshit attached to it. And this is it. So if Tszyu wins, Fundora gets his second loss. Somehow they'll probably line Fundora up for another title shot because they can care less about what the consumers think. Then, I'm not sure what Crawford, who he will fight. He might fight Lubin. I don't know who he fight for the vacant WBO. But Tszyu goes over here and fight Errol Spence. Spence wins. It puts him back as a titleist. It puts him back in play at 154 and potentially sets up a clash between whoever it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I want to say Crawford. But the way, you know, fighters are ducking them and coming up with surgeries at the last minute and coming up to somebody don't mean, you know, to be honest, I can tell you that Spence can't say that because he knows. He knows already. He's been in that classroom where Crawford gave him the business. He knows. But that's not to say that Spence won't get to 154 and get a title and don't want to fight Crawford. He might go on record and say, I already done that. I already done it. There's no need for me to fight him again. I already done that. I'm trying to get belts. There's no need for me to fight him. He might go through the same shit because he don't care what people think. This man was embarrassed so bad. And the way his fan base left him. You think he's going to go up here and really feel some type of guilt by saying, nah, I ain't trying to fight Crawford right now. I got my eyes set on, somebody else. I'm not thinking about Crawford right now. He need to do what he got to do. Look, the one thing he can't tell Crawford at 154 is to get a belt. You know what I'm saying? He can't tell him to get a belt. They're going to try their damnedest to try to build up a rematch. If indeed, Crawford picks up the WBO, I want them to have a rematch at 154. I really want that collision course to happen. I really want us to revisit the crime scene and relive the first time. Maybe we can get the full fight. You know what I'm saying? For those of you who's out there, maybe you can record it this time. Maybe they'll give us a full fight and try to build this fight up a second time to try to recoup some money. I don't know who's going to finance it. I don't know what the number's going to look like. But if they can give Canelo all that money, they sure enough can find a way to provide Spence and Crawford a second payday. Even though they didn't have shit to do with the first, maybe they can come through and for a miracle. Maybe. Shout out to Trick Noty in the building. The Oracle is on deck. What's good with it, bro? And the chat up here at work, hustling. My ears for sure, man. Appreciate you pulling up as always, bro. You know what I'm saying? Hope all is well at the JOB. It's about to be Thursday. It's already Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Salute to the ones that's working that graveyard shift. You know what I'm saying? Tyrese on deck. What's good? What's good? Just imagine Fundora versus Spence. Fundora has close-up vision issues and Arrow with the cataracts. I guess they would be fighting. Oh man, slick. Hey, slick man, salute. That's a classic. Putting the eye emoji up there, the IBF. That's slick, man, for real. You know what I'm saying? I like wordplay, man. Hey, that's slick right there, for real. You say, I guess they'll both be fighting for the IBF. You ain't never lied, right? You got Fundora trying to walk around because he got contacts in. You ain't gonna be able to fight with them jokers in there getting punched like that. Or Fundora might got to a point where, him and his manager say, hey man, where contacts doing the fight now? We need to work on fighting at a distance. We need to switch it up. We need to switch it up. Don't worry about inside fighting, and you might lose a contact or two. Andrew on deck. What's good with it, Andrew? I see you in the building. OG Mr. Golden on deck. Salute to you, brother. I never like when a fighter is overlooking his opponent. Maybe Fundora can pull something off. Maybe Tszyu would chop him down. I just don't like what I'm getting, the energy I'm getting with all this manipulation. Like, I thought we was past that. I guess in this system, a boxer, it's just not all about checking the box, proving yourself, living a fighter's lifestyle, proving yourself. You want to fight the best. I guess boxing is so broken down right now, the system, that you pretty much have individuals whining about who's ranked this place or rank. Don't worry about rankings no more, because obviously rankings don't matter when you have an entire maze. You have a an entire freaking what they call like a man-made maze, a treasure hunt going on. You have all these individuals that's trying to do a treasure hunt, like they're trying to, like I always put it out there, puppetize the consumers to try to find out what they're doing next. So you believe this is the obvious route they're gonna take, being that we have these certain names up here. But no, that's not it. You need to go search for a clue. So they send you on a freaking witch hunt. You know what I'm saying? They send you on a freaking treasure hunt to find these clues and try to figure out what they doing next. And then when you find the clue and figure it out, it don't make sense. They're finding a way to get people titles without fighting the best competition. But it's more so money. And then they get a title that's leverage. And then they can manipulate and avoid the person who should be getting the next title fight with somebody who they trying to build up and convince you, oh yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy you should be fighting next. This guy right here, that's who the champion should fight next. Why? Because he's he has a huge fan base. He's a big star, and he's on his way up the ladder to be great. Man, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see, man. We'll see, Andrew. We'll see. I'm not gonna sit up here and hate and say I hope Tszyu loses because he's on some ducking bullshit, because Fundora can turn around and do the same thing. Fundora, hey, look, these fighters are so dehydrated monetarily that they're looking for paydays. And at the end of the day, BoxRec doesn't go on your 1099. So whatever losses that you have, it's not like you're going to be the first one to take a loss. These fighters are trying to get paid. And then just think about it. How we're gravitating to Saudi. How they're making these fights, and the US fan base and every other fan base is gravitating to Saudi on these fights. They're not the fights that we're looking for, but somewhat the fights that's entertaining. These fights is going on over here. People scratching their head like, why are they putting this fight together? That's not what we want to see. We don't want to see this fight. Is he going to wait on Spence? Spence looked like he is not thinking about boxing. It seemed to be that way because he's on vacation right now, from what I understood. I don't know if anybody wanted to hear that, but, we had to bring his name up. Since Mr. Jennings wanted to mention it in his interview with the Boxing Voice, and shout out to the TBV. He wanted to mention it. And all it does is, once again, they puppetize us with the false information initially that Crawford is, activating his WBO, and then to make it seem like Tszyu's intention is to fight Crawford, but then he turns around himself and gives us the telltale signs, the red flags up the pole, that he want to fight Errol Spence. Tszyu is trying to get paid. That's all. He's trying to get paid. He's trying to live a little different over there in Australia. That's all. So he's saying, you know what? If I take a L here at 154, it's not gonna ruin me. But yes, you have a pedigree. You have a legacy name already. Your dad paved the way for you. So what you're about to do is, if you take the orders and vacate the WBO and lose the Spence, it's going to slow you down a bit, bro. But I really don't think these cats really care about that this day and time in this era. It's all about collecting the check and taking the next step. Collect and step. You know what I'm saying? If they're able to get into a position and they have to take the orders, and it's going to be the most money they ever earned in their career, they're going to do it. They're out. Especially they got families to feed. I get it. But it's foolish to think that boxing's ever going to change, man, with this nonsense. You got the aerosexuals starting to talk back, about Spence. and talk about how the PBC don't want to do business with Crawford. And Crawford probably don't want to do business with the PBC if it ain't no money in it. You know what I'm saying? Like how you gonna start talking about what the PBC don't want to do, knowing damn well anybody's looking to see Crawford fight right now? What are we, blind? What is this? Men in Black? What do y'all got going on out there, man? Like what is going on with y'all, man? Y'all seen what happened last year, but yet you want to take it back to the way it was? You know what I'm saying? You want to take it back to when it was normal? No. Y'all didn't want it to be normal. Before they stepped in the ring July 29th, it was anything but normal. All the lies and rhetoric. And then the initial bell rung. The first round went off. Y'all was happy as heck. Oh, man, that's a Spence round right there. That's a Spence round. Spence up 1-0. Spence up 1-0. Oh, yeah. Spence up 1-0. Spence up 1-0. Crawford got him. Oh, man, he better watch out. He's going to be desperately looking for a knockout. Spence already up 1-0. And then the second round, what happened? I blame Crawford for what's going on right now, man. Your supporters entrusted you to go in there and get the win, which you did. But in the way, Crawford, in the way, brother, that you went about it, I wish you just would have took a little bit of time and just say, okay, what if it becomes too easy for me? What would y'all like me for me to do? I say, man, just take it to the 12th round, set him up for a freaking okie doke rematch, and then close him out early in the second fight. You get 2 huge paydays, but at least you'll give Showtime a little bit of false sense of hope that, hey, the fight was close, and they should then, participate in fun in the second one. But Crawford, he kept it brisk, concise, punctual, and kept it moving. I think that was the whole deal right there. He kept it moving. Shout out to my boy Dion Washington in the building, Tuscaloosa on deck. What's good with it, Dion? Salute to you, brother. PBC has the most relevant names. That's why content creators want to still play both sides for credentials. Man, talk that shit, man. You make a good point, man. They do have some relevant fighters over there. I just don't know who. So many of them have left. I don't know if you heard how many fighters has left from over there, but it's a lot of fighters that's left. You know what I'm saying? But okay, let's just say you want to talk about popular names. Okay, let's say the Lubins, Spence, Charlos, Caleb Plant. You know what I'm saying? I'm not there to name off. I know Jaleel Hackett is Mayweather Promotions, and Leonard Ellerby mentioned Joseph Brown today and Jaleel Hackett. Shout out to Jaleel Hackett, man. He's at 47. They're moving him accordingly. But hey, I thought it was all about show and tell. You challenge the top dogs, you go in there and you show up and show out, you get the job done, and it sets you up for bigger fights, right? I guess if you're from Omaha, that's out the window. That don't matter. That don't matter at all. That doesn't matter at all, bro. Spencer's enjoying his belt life, his best life right now. Yeah, man, he's punching his passport, bro. That's all I can say on that. He's getting his passport punched, and that's the way it is, bro. Oh, man. They're going to say there's no money. Yeah, exactly, man. There's no money unless your name is Saul and your hair is cinnamon. You know what I'm saying? For a brother, a dark skinned brother out of Omaha, no, the funds isn't there, man. You know, I wish I can help you. We really try to keep the bank stocked with a certain type of fund, but right now we just running low on funds. I don't know. People just up here making huge withdrawals. I can't put my finger on it at all. It's you know, I look at it like it seemed a little prejudice, man. It seemed a little prejudice how they can come up with money for Canelo, but they really can't come up with and make it a smooth itinerary for Crawford to fight another top name. You already know he's good for it. He signed up for a rematch, a fight, and with a rematch clause. It wasn't his fight. I mean, it wasn't his fault that y'all planned for Errol Spence to have surgery when he did, to further prolong him stepping back in the ring with Crawford. So therefore, Crawford was forced to depart. What is wrong with that? He's not responsible for that. He did what he needed to do. Shout out to the Go Big Blunts and Boxing on Deck. Salute, man. He did what he's supposed to do. Seriously. I hope Spence whooped that ass if little Timmy duck Bud. I do, right? I guess Jessica, when you say hope, you know, even though they both start with an H, I guess per the alphabetical order, and both of them, the second character being a vowel, you know what I'm saying? Hope is better, man. You know what I'm saying? Even though hate, they both have 4 letters accordingly. But I guess if you say, I hope he get that ass beat, it's not hating. I don't know. It sure enough sounds like it. But hope is pretty much neutral. That means my intention is to see him. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping for an outcome. I'm not saying I want it to happen that way. I'm hoping that the outcome. So, hey, it's not really considerably to be deemed hate. It's not. I don't think that's hate when you say, I hope somebody get their ass whooped. I hope. You know what I'm saying? I guess it is just a smidgen. I guess it is. Just like you catch a fever. I guess it is a bit of hate when you hoping that somebody take a L because they bullshitting around. I get it. I just didn't want to come off as a hater. You know what I'm saying? But this nonsense is going on. It's to be expected. Doesn't mean you have to tolerate it, but it's to be expected in boxing, man. And it's just so many fighters that's ducking Bud. I would definitely like for him to get his 4th division. I'm pretty sure that he's gonna get that, whether it's at 54 or 60. But if he selects to be at 154 for unification, for undisputed, it will be another incredible moment in boxing to be able to witness. You know what I'm saying? If he's able to do that 3 straight divisions, 40, 47, and 54, man, it'll be unbelievable. Amazing. But, there are haters out there, and there are detractors. There are obstacle movers. You know what I'm saying? And there are individuals who take the goalpost and move that all the way into planet Jupiter, Venus, anywhere that's far enough that by the time it gets back down here to its original position, Crawford's out of the sport, retired, and they proved their point. Hey, we didn't want him to take them fights anyway, so we had to move the goalposts all the way out of here. We didn't want him to even come close to getting them fights. Jessica say, yeah, I'm hating. Hey, man, hey. I can see where where we all can have a little hate and discontent. Hell yeah. Because we're looking for these guys to fight one another. And then they're coming up with all these freaking transitions, these play schemes, these plots. You know what I'm saying? It's not even all these tactical measures that they're using. You know what I'm saying? That's all they. I mean, this don't make any sense, man. This doesn't make any sense. Just when you want to settle into boxing again, you know, after watching Raymond Ford have his Rocky moment, or Shockey Foster, you know, go through his Rocky moment, Jess Bam Rodriguez and Sonny, you know, when you get up there and see a Daniel Dubois and Jarrell Miller, you know, I mean, you look at it and say, okay, there's some good moments in the sport. All right, cool, I like it. And then you get the Anthony Joshua, you know, freaking Francis Ngannou shit, and it just reminds you all over again. Hey, these fighters, they need money. They need to get paid. There's no retirement plan. If they have to take a L, knowing that they're competing in a sport with no retirement plan, what you think they're going to take? They're going to take the money. So for us, depending on what our lifestyle is, we look at it like, oh, man, it's fucked up. He sold out. He sacrificed, man. He sold himself out. Well, it's always going to be like that because we are on the outside looking in and we are consumers. And we're always going to have that mentality. We're always going to look at it like, yeah, you should have fought that person. You should have fought that. But, you know, the fighters are looking at it from an occupational standpoint, and they understand that their benefits stop once they're no longer competing, actively competing. It's done. Unless you're getting the money on the back end. If you're getting the money on the back end, you good. I think. You know? But hey, salute to the hottest chat in the game, man. The Hot Grease Chronicles EP 289, 2024. The most feared man in boxing got these cats ducking once again. And it doesn't make any sense, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. And Tszyu, I'm so disappointed in you. I am so disappointed in you. After I had to deal with Kambosos fighting Devin Haney twice, and I call him Kambozo because he acted like he was looking for Devin Haney. He was looking for Lomachenko. Now, guess what there, Tszyu? You up here, you and your manager talking about vacating the WBO title so you don't have to step in. Unbelievable. So you don't have to step in and catch that heat. You want to bail out, abort mission. Shout out to the hottest chat in the game, man. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. Continue to support the channel.